Hello, one and all. Welcome back to my reaction of RWBY Volume 6, Episode 12, or Chapter 12, whatever. Seeing Red. I decided to start it partway through the theme song this time. Leave a little lesson skipping from last time, but, oh boy, I missed some stuff last time. Completely missed Gamble's Shroud breaking, and oh boy, that's a bit different than most people were expecting. Lots of people were expecting someone's weapon, not me, but someone. Lots of people were expecting that someone, aka RWBY's weapon, would get destroyed, and there'd be this big arc about her rebuilding it. Nope! It's Gamble's Shroud. Blake's weapon gets trashed instead. Ooh, was not expecting that. Though, really, it's the one that ironically looked the most flimsy. I mean, Murder Nester is similarly thin, but Murder Nester doesn't have a hinge on the blade, so it's actually less fragile. But, yeah. I missed that the branding on Adam's eyes were the SDC logo. I thought they were numbers. That's even more messed up. And I missed the glorious moment where Nora screamed, "Bring back my man!" Yeah, more Renora's stuff is great, so I'm sad I missed that. Other people had to point them out what they were pointing, like, holy shit, how did I miss that? Ugh. Anyways. Yeah, let's just get to this episode. Seeing Red, then, with the thumbnail of RWBY hanging desperately for life, which I thought she might have been rescued. I was remembering her being rescued, but apparently I was wrong. No. They might have distracted her, but RWBY's still hanging on desperately for life. That's, oh boy. Somebody get her. So, I'm wondering if the episode's is the battle gonna wrap up this episode or next? It's only, I just looked at the link, it's only about 30 minutes.
Keep this rivalry between us, could you, Calavera? You had to rope in children to fail with you.
And of course, her men are cheering and not paying attention. Oh, that's another thing people predicted that was admittedly at least somewhat agreeing with. Oh, she climbed herself back up. Never mind, she's fine. Something is coming. They've attracted the attention of a giant Seagrim, which people thought they were foreshadowing with the poster from a couple episodes back. And that this thing was clearly designed for fighting giant deep sea monsters. And that while they're battling the robot and damaging it, they're making it harder. They're going to make it harder for it to beat the giant monster, which they might actually have to stay and help because, because of what they've done, it might not actually be able to protect Argus. So, and of course, everybody's just cheering at Cordovo going batshit.
Can you hear me? Are you guys okay?
Are we okay?
I know, we were supposed to lay low, but listen. I think I finally found a weakness.
Well, we're all ears.
I mean, aside from the other obviously glowing weak point.
The cylinder on Cordo's cannon rotates and locks in a giant dust cartridge every time she changes attack style.
A giant dust... Oh, that's what that is.
Right, but her missile launcher doesn't
Okay.
lock in. It pops
A
out.
giant dust
Without her
cartridge.
shields, one well-placed shot could detonate the missiles while they're still in the launcher.
Oh.
Could destroy the entire cannon. Oscar, that's brilliant.
Can you make that kind of shot? We'll only get one chance before she catches on. I'd have to be practically staring down the barrel of her cannon.
Well, I've got a way to guarantee that.
Use the ship as bait.
RWBY, what are you doing?
And herself. Yeah, seeing red. Both because she's basically using herself as part of it.
Hey, Cordo! I've got one missile left, and I know exactly where I'm gonna stick it.
One missile, you say? That's a shame, Maria, because I have plenty!
Too crazy!
Come on! Damn, just so. But thankfully the giant that's actually somewhat a good thing, because the giant grim will protect.
Thought you could fool me?
Ah, now they've sailed down right into the cannon. Oh shit. Woo! That was close! Oh, that was close for everyone!
I can't see! My eyes!
No, no, no!
Take control!
Oz! If you have any experience flying these things, good time to come out! Oh. And I noticed Ruby was... I didn't really notice Ruby in there much, so where the hell's she gone?
We're still in one piece.
Oh good. She didn't fall out or something.
Very clever. But even the smartest apes can't compete with the intellect of man.
Come on!
Kodo, you, really lost it.
Ruby, stop!
I need you to trust me.
He's scared and worried about you, honey. Oh, it's good that he's finally snapped out of his drunken stupor, but this
Surrender for
probably
your
is being
crimes,
bad flashbacks
and
to your
accept
mom.
your punishment.
No! We're going to Atlas! Bigger people than you have tried to stop us and failed. But we're supposed to be on the same side.
We're supposed to use
Ah, yeah.
yours to protect
A
people.
speech.
But you just use yours to look down on everyone.
I don't think this will work on Kordo.
We did it
At least not before the giant Grim attacks. And they have to team up to
Now
fight
I'm
it.
giving you one last chance to stand down and hear us out.
I've heard enough.
Yep. I've heard people deriding her speeches, but... Ruby? The fuck are you doing? What? She's nuts! It's right!
Springs out, but the raw dust gets locked in.
Ruby! Okay! Ah! Christ! Okay! Ruby, that was batshit insane. I love it, but Christ. Good catch, Crow. And Weiss.
Ruby, Ruby.
And now Ruby's unconscious.
Told ya.
Ruby, you adorable,
Oh, don't tell me I missed
insane.
it.
You adorable and insane
You
badass,
couldn't win two
you.
on one at Haven.
Christ.
What makes you so sure you can win now?
That actually had me freaked out a little
I
bit.
have people who actually care about me.
I was complaining last time. Nope, I will never complain again. Oh
I'm
no,
not
no.
dying now.
Yeah, I was on the edge here, because
You know,
this,
You made a promise to me once.
that was
You'll always
shit
be at
insane,
my
Ruby.
side.
Which,
And look how well she
honestly, it feels like, well, her
Did you
one
make that
plan of
promise
launching
to
herself
you?
out of a
Or
slingshot.
to the person you were pretending to be.
I mean, right, but holy shit. That only worked because of her own semblance.
You know it's so much
She drained
more
her
than that.
semblance bad enough
I
that it
know
actually
you've made
lost
your
her,
choice,
drained her aura
and
out.
I've made mine.
And get away from it. Holy shit. Ooh! That got. I like that little. The way the line looks and everything. It looks good. Like, I was expecting Ruby to stand like this longer because of that thumbnail, but okay, no, she was fine. Jesus Christ. Not completely wrecked though. Now she's going to fall in the freezing water.
Moment of truth, Yang. Do you think you're faster than you were at Beacon? Me neither.
And people are like, oh no, claim that, oh, ranking over PSC too easily, blah 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 blah, not earned, blah blah blah.
To be running low.
I'm sorry, I try not to bitch about the rest of the fandom, but it's so very hard, guys. Especially when I saw the festering garbage dump of the comments from last week's video.
Hit me already!
I poked in there just once and like, people were goddamn reposting Shane's letter for Christ. Okay, yeah, no, he's definitely seeing a romance there.
You're just a coward like her!
Uh-oh.
Gotcha.
Oh, shit! No. It's not just the badass moment, it's the fire hair. This is the first time we've seen her semblance go full out since they switched to Maya, and that shit is awesome looking.
Faster.
Oh, that was fucking awesome looking. She took his sword. Go Blake. Yes! His brutal demise! Tag team kill! Stabbed him through from both sides with the broken remains of Gamble Shroud. That was fucking awesome. Ah! He's fucking dead. This isn't like Cinder, because we've seen someone break out of ice. This person is grievously wounded, unconscious, and in freezing water.
I'm not gonna break my promise.
And now they're having an emotional breakdown after this glorious victory.
I know you won't.
Holy shit. They did a lot in these 13 minutes. That was fucking great. I loved it.
All forces! Converge on my position and eliminate these pests at once!
Trap! Everyone on
Yeah, the
board.
ship's
They're
busted.
making a
They are.
run for it.
What about Yang and Blake?
Ma'am, we've been trying to reach you. Argus is in danger.
What?
Yeah, it looks like they finally stopped paying attention to the fights. And now, because you waste your time with people who wanted to talk with you. Oh my god! It's just straight up Godzilla! It's Godzilla! That is just straight up Grimzilla! Oh my god, and the Griffins and Chimeras, and holy shit!
It's a Leviathan. It began its approach during your battle. We need you.
A Leviathan. And now you've disabled this thing's main weapon. Good job breaking it, everybody. I figured that was what was going to happen. And, yep, no, that's the end point. Oh! I don't know what kind of controversy exactly sprang up around this episode. All I know is I saw people posting about how terrible last week's fight was, despite being, you know, as good as Monty's level as far as I'm concerned. Like, not even almost as good, it was as good. Or reposting the Shane letter, which I'm not even sure what the fuck you think's gonna happen with that. Anyone who agrees with that letter already agrees with it. Nobody else in the fandom is gonna give a shit about that anymore. Because most of us who don't agree with it have decided he's a nutcase, and showing his letter around as like this horrible document about the awful things RT did to Monty's legacy doesn't exactly make you look good in our eyes. Just stop! Unless he somehow wrote another one, but I'm sorry, I'm not taking anything he said seriously after the first one. Okay, nutcase is the exact words I'd say. I'd say he was someone who was having a fairly solid breakdown right around the having for understandable reasons. But that breakdown led him to blaming the RT for shit that is, quite frankly, stupid. I don't have anything against the guy, he just wasn't doing well, and he burnt major connection with major company connections and possible future jobs just because of that. Yeah, no, Adam, like you said, Cinder last season, I didn't buy she was dead. Adam, deader than a doornail. Oh, hey, we get to see the full brand of the SDC branding, and like, Christ. The moment the launch came in, I knew they were going to break that thing. You heard me say it, to the point that they'd have to stay and help to save Argus from their little bit of treason. Well, not treason, they're not part of Mistral or Atlas, but you get my point. From their sabotage. And yeah, no, they wouldn't have had to do this if she wasn't batshit crazy and a racist cunt, but, you know, they're still going to feel the blame for it and want to help, and even if they didn't, they still want to help because, you know, people are in trouble, including John's family. Like, whoo, whoo, wow. And, yeah, no, Ruby, that was amazing, but holy fucking shit, that was batshit insane plan. Batshit insane plan. That was batshit insane. I love it. I do. I'm so happy she came out okay. But whoo, and that's just on that part of the fight, which everything about that was great. Meanwhile, on the side of meanwhile in the Madam v Bumblebee fight, which, okay, I'll be honest, I'm not normally a Bumblebee shipper. In fact, I do ship Eclipse a little bit more. Even I was expecting them to kiss at that moment, so it was kind of obvious. Especially with the fact that Adam was screaming, what does she see in you? Like, if nothing else, Adam was 100% absolutely convinced they were romantically involved, even if he's wrong. So, yeah, no, I definitely felt like there was going to be a kiss in that moment. And, yeah, no, he, even by beating him, his effects on their sanity, their emotional well-being, especially Blake's, isn't over. I do really love the beating him by stabbing him through each side with the weapon, with Gamble's Shroud. That was great. And the weapon had blood on it. Visible blood, not just like his sword from Volume 3, where he flecked it off. Like, no, that thing had actual blood on it. You could see the blood. I mean, it's not really as brutal as I claimed when it happened. I was just caught up in the moment. But I think I understand the problem here. Lots of people are fanboying over... Though, from what I understand, it has to do with Adam fanboys. People who talked about how great Adam's character was in the trailer, even though his character didn't exist in the trailer. Or in Volume 2, and to be frank... I mean, look, I'm the guy who's of the opinion that the majority of the characters of Team RWBY and JNPR didn't really come to fruition, weren't fully revealed to the viewers until post V3. Case in point, some people believed that RWBY was made of glass in Volume 1, and that if someone died, she'd break. Even with Volume 2. Then comes Volume 3, her friend dies, and then she just, after her dear friend dies, and after breaking down for a brief bit, she gets back up and saves the person who, unfortunately, and not even their fault, killed her best friend. Or her friend. Or as I prefer to think about, her girlfriend, because I ship nuts and bolts. Either way, she got up and saved that person's life. Most people, even if they intellectually knew it wasn't that person's fault, would have still done it. Wouldn't have saved them. That's certainly a character trait of RWBY's that is obvious in hindsight from the way other people talked about her, and the way she acts at certain points. Like the fact... But it's something that most of the fandom didn't even accept until Volume 3. And many are still whinging about how it's dumb and doesn't make sense with her character. That's a fucking problem I've found with a lot of people out there in the fandom. Is that when this show first started, there was so little of everything from the character... Not even character development, just character at all, to world building, that people invented vast swaths of what they believe the show should have been like. They've been doing that since the first trailer came out, for Christ's sake. There were people who thought the show was going to be cyberpunk. I don't even know how the fuck you got cyberpunk. Yeah, there were some robots, but... So... Robots and monsters doesn't mean cyberpunk. Existing in the same thing does not mean cyberpunk. And as the season progressed, people became more rooted in their headcanons. And lots of people had their beliefs about Adam. Beliefs that weren't shook by his second appearance in the show. Because, he had no character and had no character in that moment either. So when their 3 years of headcanon got smashed, they got whingy. But some of them held on to remnants of it. And then Volume 4 and 5 happened, especially Volume 5. And they see him get beat by underestimating Blake during a moment when she had all the advantages. As we notice here, normally he could basically beat the shit out of her, and there was nothing she could do about it. As we saw in Volume 3. But because of that moment, because she managed to get over him just once, apparently that destroyed his character or things. I'm literally scrolling down there seeing people who are calling bullshit and saying that the abusive piece of shit that is Adam is somehow more redeemable than, is redeemable as Ilya. Even though Ilya's problem was that she was a not altogether terrorist girl who had joined in because for legitimate reasons about the whole fighting for the cause and everything, and slowly been going and doing more extreme things. Adam, as it's shown, was, even when he wasn't that far gone down the terrorist route, he was still an abusive, gaslighting piece of shit. And he only became worse. And she wanted to change. Ilya wanted to change. Ilya was conflicted throughout everything she did in Volume 4. And she wanted to change in the end. Adam didn't. He never wanted to change. He liked who he was. This is something I think people need to understand. For redemption to work, the person has to actually want it. And Adam did not want to be redeemed. Did not. He was a piece of shit, and he was perfectly happy with that. It was only when the things started going out of his way that he started getting happy, and he blamed everyone else for it than himself. And here's the ultimate thing: redeeming people who don't want it is possible, but you have to be able to contain them until you can eventually get them to be a better person. That's not an option anybody had here. If they tried that, he would have killed them. And they didn't exactly have time. I mean, I think people are forgetting what kind of saying this is. Redemption and forgiveness is nice, but this is not a luxury the people of Remnant can usually afford. And the fact that Ruby is that, as much as I love Ruby, the adorable girl that she is, or adorable little batshit insane badass she is, even I have to admit, her attempts to appeal to Raven's good side was one of her dumber moments. Not that I don't think it's in character for her, but Raven was never going to be a person who could have been redeemed either. She might now, but Ruby definitely wasn't the person to do it, and they had no reason to expect it. I mean, nobody has ever shed a tear for the people they killed on that train back in Volume 2. And lots of people are still in denial about that. No, they killed those people. You knocked them off a train when there's lots of explosions going on, and there's a horde of Grim rushing at them. No, those terrorists were dead. And just because Ruby didn't plant her blade in their necks, just because they didn't do that, and I also like to point out, the only reason those two are reacting like that is because of their own pre-existing mental issues. Not because the people of Remnant have a problem with killing bad guys. Sorry. Rants. I didn't want to rant at other people, but goddamn. This is the other thing. It pissed me off because Adam, I don't know. I mean, I know where it is, but I just wish people had the self-awareness to admit when their headcanon is wrong. For Christ's sakes, I did that back when it was revealed that Aura wasn't always on passive. I was literally in a rant about how stupid I thought Aura being something you have to turn on was, and then it was explained that, and then Ren said it had, literally, just after I started that rant, Ren said it has to be turned on, in which case I went, But I got over it. And then I proceeded to actually think, of course, I always say the evidence people used for that theory back when it happened was flimsy and stupid, and it was. Mostly because they apparently all seemed to avoid the obvious, in hindsight, evidence that actually backed up the point. I'm getting off topic. I'm getting way off topic here. The point is, guys, you just gotta learn that your preconceptions about how this world works aren't always going to be correct, and when they are, it's not the writer's fault. It's yours. You're the one who got it so attached to your preconceptions of how things have to work. But yeah. Ugh. I really did like a lot of this episode. I think it's one of my favorites. Aside from, the cool fight scenes, we had excellent character moments with Yang and Blake right there where they both broke down. Blake worse because, Adam may have cut Blake's and Yang's arm off, but Blake went through his abusive crap for a lot longer than Yang had any interaction with the dude. And he basically stomped on those issues as hard as he fucking could in those last few moments. He stomped on him made him bleed all over again. So yeah. Especially the whole guilt about running away from Yang before when she needed her. I think she did, which has only been getting worse this season. I also like the fact that people think that apparently it magically got better earlier. When it seemed like they'd patch things up. Nope. Even their little moment where where we'll protect each other. Wasn't the end of that moment. That, I think, is if it's not the end, it's the second to last thing when they patch that up. Yeah. Alright, so I think I've yelled and ranted enough about this. Yeah. My favorite episodes. Next episode. Next episode's probably going to be dealing with the Grimm, and if I have a guess, it's through that actually convincing Cordo to help them. Getting because they effectively put the town in danger with their fight with Cordo. Which, they kind of did. And I know what they had to do was necessary and everything, but if we're following the same logic as, I've already gone into rants about the rest of the fandom, I might as well touch up the Austin haters. Or, if I'm checking, the Pooters. That will be explained in a moment. Just let me get through this part of the rant. Is that if you listen to that chunk of the fandom, then quite by all rights, Team RWBY should be horrible manipulative monsters who nearly threw away the lives of every single person in that town, including John's baby nephew. Horrible monsters. Yes, they had no reason to suspect it would go wrong like that. Yes, it's not truly their fault. It probably wouldn't have happened had they not done it. But it probably wouldn't have needed to happen if Corvo hadn't been a stubborn cunt either. But if you follow a lot of the fandom, it's more their fault than hers. Because, that's how logic works, right? Sorry. I figured I'm already down this hole. I might as well fucking go all the way. And Pooters. I'm calling them that because all of them are asking like the character Mary Sue Poots from season 1 of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Specifically the first half. Here's a hint. Her name is actually Emma Skye, or now she's not called Quake or Daisy Johnson. And what was it? She had similar views on the concept of need to know and all that, and secrets being withheld. Almost everyone who's ever watched that show thinks she's a moron. But several of those people watched RWBY and think Oscar's horrible, when Ozpin is horrible for doing this same thing. That they think Sky is an idiot for disagreeing with. Sorry, that's just... That was a multifaceted rant by me, and I shouldn't have gone on it. But I was already down the rabbit hole. I might as well. But yeah, I love this episode, and the hatred, the chunks of fandom that have spewing their crap has pissed me off because of it. Still, I really loved it. I'm glad I saw it. And, yeah. I can't wait for next week and the conclusion of the arc. I do wish we would have gone to Atlas by now, but you know what? I don't regret anything about this arc, and I think it was great. True, it means we won't get Atlas until Volume 7. And it does mean it'll probably be like another 6 volumes at least before we wrap up with get halfway through whatever happens in Vacuo. But yeah. I'm just gonna end this here before I get into another angry rant. HighPriest signing out, and I will see you all next time, folks.